More than 1 billion people in the world do not have access to electricity.
The whole goal we have is how do you start to move up that energy ladder? Higher productivity, higher education, better health. All of those things correlate very clearly with access to energy.
A new generation of solar-powered devices promises to bring power and technology to those off the grid.
You're impacting communities that are typically forgotten, but also this is a great way to combat climate change.
A SIPA UNCDF capstone research team travels to Uganda to explore the potential and challenges for off-grid solar power. My name is Alicia Gareki, and I am part of a SIPA team that is working with the United Nations Capital Development Fund to study the market in Uganda for off-grid solar energy companies.
This team, I call them the dream team because they really are amazing. We had 7 students and we had 7 solar energy companies in Uganda.
I would say we all kind of complement each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we all work very well together.
This project is focused on energy access. It's a really exciting space to be in because it's a great opportunity to do great impact for people who don't get access to modern energy services.
We will be working with 7 companies that were finalists in a United Nations Capital Development Fund grant to support startup solar energy companies in Uganda.
And we are working with 7 Ugandan solar companies to prepare for their investment readiness and helping them to get to the next level.
The UN Capital Development Fund, or UNCDF, is a UN agency that's really looking at financial inclusion for the poorest of the poor in the world.
Solar is seen as, the future of energy for big utilities in the developed world, but in the developing world is probably the only way that people can get access to basic electricity services.
Our team arrives in Kampala and spends a day getting to know the city and our Ugandan hosts.
We got there and we wanted to get oriented, so we took a moto tour of the city, which was a fantastic way to get a lay of the land. Kampala, the capital, has gotten much more crowded. Many more people coming to start businesses.
Uganda is a country in East Africa. It's part of the East African community. It's a poor country. It has very low annual incomes. The energy access in the rural areas is less than 20%, so many people are living without electricity. The poverty rates are very high because energy and electricity is such a major, important input for all economic productivity.
We begin our work meeting with the UNCDF Uganda-based team and doing a review of the 7 companies we will be working with.
It's interesting to see how local Ugandan companies actually work and compete.
One of the companies that our team is focusing on is Annuel, a maker of solar panels. Team member Yilmaz Akayun has Annuel as his client and begins his work meeting with company CEO Frank Yiga.
The CEO of Annuel Energy is a very charismatic young entrepreneur. His name is Frank Giga, and he's leading this company since 5 years. He managed to build up a team with up to 30 employees.
The company has a wide network of sales representatives who sell solar panels to rural Ugandans. Yilmaz, Frank, and the team travel to a rural area where they have several clients using the device. An entry-level solar home system sells at approximately $50.
It was amazing to go with him to his client. He was bringing us the real rural Uganda to our team, and it was amazing to dive into the real life of Ugandans and see which difference his company and his products makes, and also how they really work on the ground.
One of the company's biggest challenges was developing a mobile phone-based pay-as-you-go system that allows poor rural Ugandans to afford the devices.
Pay-as-you-go has really played a huge role in helping unlock a huge portion of the market that was not accessible to companies before.
Mobile money is allowing you to pay in very small increments to basically eventually own a solar home system. So creating that financing link is a huge, massive transformational change.
Back in Kampala, team member Yifan has as her client Arid, a company that produces and distributes a kiosk that uses solar panels to allow people to charge cell phones and other devices.
Arid is a solar kiosk company that is currently expanding its business in Uganda.
Basically, it's a solar kiosk on wheels. It has solar panels on top. You can expand it when you roll it out from a shop and then fold it back when you want to push it back in the evening.
The fact that the solar kiosks are mobile really gives Arid's business model a whole new perspective.
Team members have a chance to see the kiosk in action in a neighborhood on the outskirts of Kampala.
We talked to 2 women entrepreneurs who are managing the kiosks so we can see how it actually works.
We met these young women who are running the kiosks on a day-to-day basis and learn about their stories of how being able to own a business empower their lives and help them support their children.
The kiosk provides energy to charge cell phones. They also provide a suite of other services, including mobile payments.
In addition to the actual phone charging services that she was also offering a suite of services around mobile money and how to pay your electricity bill and how to pay your phone bill and how to pay your school fees.
Our team's consultancy also includes work with company directors to help them think through marketing and communication strategy and support the production of materials that can be used with potential investors.
We had a unique training for all the companies we worked with to go to the Innovation Village, to a multimedia digital storytelling training in cooperation with Design Exchange.
Mark from Arid was very interested. He participated in this workshop. After that, he told me he learned new perspectives of how to better engage audience, for example, on Facebook, how to more effectively convey the company's mission and vision and their business product.
What I see is the need to invest in the local entrepreneur and sort of give them the skills, the business training, to both start their business, but then more importantly, to grow their business.
Other team members visit other innovative companies, including TAS, a national solar installer, and Innovation Africa, a company who develops and sells solar water pumps. In our final meeting with our partners at UNCDF, our team presents our findings.
It was incredible to get the group together again and reflect. Having external stakeholders joining us who know the Ugandan solar energy market was very helpful.
Some of the group's findings across the sectors include the need to better regulate the industry and protect this new market from fraudulent products.
So for the customers, it's difficult for them to differentiate the low-quality products from the high-quality ones.
Customer trust is affected by the fact that there's a lot of low-quality products in the market. So consumers in rural Uganda can go to a market and buy a cheap solar panel that tends to break within a month or 2.
Another key takeaway was the importance of creating financing mechanisms that can service the smaller-sized companies.
In Uganda, interest rate can be as high as 21%, so it really limited their access to financing, and a lot of them rely on access to grants or impact investment.
Large institutions want to fund larger scale things where they know that they're going to get a return on their investment. What we're seeing is a lot of these small and medium enterprises do still really need to focus on grant funding because they're not large enough to really sustain debt and equity capital. The great thing about looking at 7 enterprises within Uganda is that our enterprises were kind of on the spectrum, where some of them were really quite small and still developing their business model, whereas other ones were really quite ready and primed for more substantial investments.
While all the devices are designed to be cost-effective products, they also have the added environmental benefit of being based on a sustainable energy source.
One of the benefits of off-grid energy is not only does it allow people who may not be able to have access to the main grid system have access to modern energy services, but also it leapfrogs them into having access from clean energy sources instead of being connected to the main grid, which is powered by dirty fuels.
In a lot of cases, these distributed energy systems that are offered by solar home systems, which are very much clean and renewable energy, are generally for the rural areas in places like Uganda, the cost-effective option. So in the case of climate change, you're getting that direct benefit. These are small, remote villages, but for the communities themselves, that access to clean energy is a no-brainer.
It may even be that some of the solutions developed in Uganda may have lessons for the US and other more developed countries, as they also begin to rethink how they source and deliver energy.
Here in the US, we're finding it really hard to innovate around new solar technologies because we have a lot of this old energy infrastructure. As a student of renewable energy, seeing solar be the solution was really quite exciting.